Pisces, second half of November 2024. So what is the main theme for you, Pisces, for the second half of November? I remember in my first reading for November, for your monthly reading, you had actually that overwhelming and heaviness of energy, and you really had to watch it out. So let's see what is happening for the second half of November. How can we actually auto-correct that heaviness in a proper way? Oh, in fact, it is saying to you flow of prosperity. The doors may be starting opening up for you. The resources, the solutions may stop opening up for you. This is a beautiful, actually, correction wave mode. And I would love to understand, based on the cards reading, what do you need to do for yourself, Pisces, so that really to ride these wave of prosperity in the second half of November in a tremendously powerful way for you, so that you could kind of like profit the most out of it. So let's have a look at it now. Oh, Ten of Wands, that's where we begin, right? Again, we see that card, Eight of Swords. Interesting. The World, all right. Three of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, Eight of Cups, and Nine of Pentacles reversed. The Hierophant. That's quite interesting combination of cards for you, dear Pisces, to focus on. What I see very clearly, you really need to focus on your skill set. So let's say in your career, just focusing on to anything what can augment your skill set. Because let's say in your work, you don't feel appreciated, you don't feel valuable, you don't feel that on some level, all your efforts, what you're currently doing, but they are not being rewarded, and you try that hard. What can really help you is just to focus on augmenting the knowledge, meaning that everything related to the skill set. Because once we become really valuable in acquiring those skills, we become valuable automatically for the company. That's inevitable, right? And that's exactly the card of the knowledge. And let's say what you can do specifically is just to look at everything what's happening currently in your career, and in case if it's somehow syncing and resonating with you that you've done so much but at the same time you were not really rewarded, try to look at what you can do to augment your skill set. Which kind of skill set is required in order to perform better at that work. And then just give it a bit of time. Do not do any drastic changes. This is a very balanced card. And just stay in that receivership mode. By the way, this card, the Nine of Pentacles reversed, if you would look at it, it's just representing that cup, the chalice, and accepting all the goodies, all the opportunities from the world to come. And you want to kind of like a bit relaxed, like that eagle, in fact, with slightly different perspective over the situation. Stop maybe some kind of irritation within which may occur, that you were not appreciated enough maybe there at anywhere, either in your relationships or in your career, and start going into that perspective of looking at the same situation. What can I do so that I would become much more valuable there? And clearly you will get into the point that you may start augmenting and increasing your skill set in what you are doing. You automatically will become much more valuable in the eyes of those who are around you and who don't really appreciate you. That's actually a winning formula for every situation. In fact, you start augmenting and focusing on the skill set, Because in this market, actually, there is a science behind it. If you start really working on your skills and you start really performing much better, truly performing, not from your perspective, but truly delivering results to the company, to the workplace where you are currently in, they start valuing you much more because they see, oh, these are the results. So not like the issues which are brought to the horizon, why things didn't happen, but taking that responsibility back and trying to understand what can be done so that I would become much more valuable from results perspective. And you really becoming the master of your focus. You shift your focus from everything what is not working to what is working and how can I make it work and build on it. You start building on your talents, where you are good at. And you're okay to come, let's say, to a person with whom you are in partnership, with whom you are working, and saying, hey, I acknowledge actually truly that this was the situation, whatever, I'm taking the full responsibility for it. I'm really willing to learn. What can I bring to the table? Even just such type of attitude can really start bringing much more pentacles into your cup, into your chalice. All right. So right now you may be fixed into only one thing, but there is so much more around you, possibilities. And again, in order to do it, you must become the master of your attention, meaning that probably you've seen the situation only from one angle, and that created some kind of pressure, continuous pressure. And that's why I'm seeing again this card. There is a reason why even in the second reading, I see this card. But you know what? We finish the cycle with Hierophant, and Hierophant releases actually that pressure tremendously through knowledge, through that confidence in that knowledge. Not like, I know, I say so. No, you really go and you acquire that knowledge. You do some part of the work so that to gain the results. Okay? Now, if you do not be willing to see the situation from that new perspective, what can I bring to the table of that partnership, of that endeavor, of my work, what might eventually happen, there might be much more suffocation. And that snake might sting you even more, might bite you even more, and you will feel even much more suffocated in this reality. And guess what? The energy will be even much more electric. You will become much more charged. It's already not really good for your health, for how you feel. So the way out of it is actually to slightly distance yourself, to start looking from the center. That's why we meet this card nearby the Eight of Swords. It's just saying to you, hey, just distance yourself a bit from the situation, accept the other point of view. Maybe the feedback which they are giving to you, maybe there is something there for me to learn, and maybe I can see that situation where I currently feel like strangled and suffocated from another perspective, right? Because you are a Pisces, you're extremely flexible. So right now is the time for you to use that flexibility, in fact, and to stand in that center so that you would be able to start rebuilding your value, rebuilding your power in this physical world, in your career specifically, and start feeling much more powerful, feeling like the god of your creation, right? That is the sign of it, meaning like the master, because it seems like for a while you've been feeling really suffocated, really strangled. It seems like for a while you felt really not appreciated by someone, like you were working, but just like it's still, they don't appreciate me. Seems like that is the thing. And you try really hard again, but they give you feedback, and sometimes it sounds like truly harsh feedback, and you pay attention to it, but you don't really see that there is some reasonable thing in that feedback. So you want to just kind of like rewire yourself. That's why the whole universe is saying to you, stand a bit on the distance to the situation, try to see the other party, try to actually accept it, and really increase your knowledge, your skills. And that's how you may find your way out from that suffocation, that vicious cycle of being kind of like contracted all the time, being overwhelmed all the time, by increasing your value by standing in the middle, increasing your value by acquiring much more skills. This is like the sign of acquiring. You acquire much more skills. They even stand together. That's how powerful it is. How can you nurture and nourish yourself and really get back to that energy healing within? Well, quick answer may be like some energy healing work, but maybe you can do actually some kind of work on your own, paying attention to certain things. I would love to know the answer for that question for you. All right, so Wheel of Fortune. In fact, what you are going through right now is kind of like a very, very important cycle in your life. And it all depends on how you will handle it, how you will respond. If you continue reacting the situation, you will become much more stinged by the Scorpio of this reality, by the vicious snake of this reality. You might go into a bit more blaming mode. There is the potentiality of it, but again, if you take that responsibility back and you stand in the center and you say, wait, I want to see another perspective, right? And there is this very, very powerful theme for acquiring knowledge, right? Acquiring knowledge and increasing that value of yours on the market through acquiring of this knowledge. So if you will be open for that new perspective, what might happen is your value will drastically start really increasing, and you need to relax a bit. Again, change of perspective, exactly what I am talking about. So this is a quite definitive point, definitive really cycle through which you are going through, Pisces. And again, we see that warning, disturbing sign of disturbed energy, that lots and lots in your perception, again, in your perception is holding over you. You kind of like perceive too much on me. And this is going in tremendous alignment with the previous card. Do you see like this is the card when she's holding too much, and this is actually the beginning of that, already slightly lighter, but still the same recurring theme, right? So you want always to be staying in tune with your energy. So you see, for example, that you are too much overworking, for instance. It's already too much. So you need really to stand in the center, like distance yourself a bit, maybe taking a small vacation, maybe even asking for just like 2-3 days off just to rebalance yourself. And then explaining, actually, there may be that fear inside that they don't like you already, they don't appreciate you, but you may come to them and say, you know what, guys, I really want to make it work, but I need just slight rebalancing myself, period. I just need these 1-2 days just to bring things all into place. I promise you that after I come back, I do these 1-2 days just to bring myself into that balance, just to figure stuff out. Because I fully acknowledge, if you come to them with that perception, I fully acknowledge that I didn't do the work to the best of my abilities. I do something wrong. I really want to make it work. I'm actually also willing to change my approach. So if you could help me out there, but also I need to think it over. So you hear their perspective, what they say to you, let's say your boss at your work, or others who are surrounding you, you hear them and you just hear them from the perspective, kind of like maybe there is some reasonable judgment there. Maybe I can really change something in you. Not battling back, but just maybe something reasonable is there. And you can explain where you are struggling with and ask for their opinion. You know what? I'm feeling like everything and everyone is laying over me. I'm feeling too heavy. I clearly do something wrong. I would love some piece of advice here. What can I do better? It might be that at your work, You might not find some good pieces of advice, but I would start from your boss. Come into him maybe with that perspective, in case if you see that continuously you are not appreciated, you know, continuously you are not, like you do things, but it's too much. For some cases, it might be like, oh, I'm a bit afraid. If you are too afraid, then you may delay that talk and just ask for those 2 days just to rebalance yourself and to find another perspective. But again, it's all coming back to acquiring more knowledge, more skill set into your workplace specifically. So what I feel about your situation is that toughened energy, that really energy which is governing here, too heavy, and in order to make it easier, you want to take responsibility and acquire more skills, and it will be easier, okay? And if in case if there was kind of like some kind of blaming attitude there crawling, you want to stop it immediately, because that thing is like that vicious snake which stops you from, in fact, releasing yourself from that pressure. All right, so that's what I clearly see here as a theme. And you want to actually act fast on that resolution. You don't want to delay this, because the more you delay it, the more this vicious snake will continue biting you and finding the reasons why it's happening that way with you, trying to blame others. Because this thing which is happening inside our brains, whenever we feel tired, it tries to protect itself, but it never sees the possibility for us to take the responsibility, okay? And that's where actually the way for us out, to stand in that center and to start acquiring that knowledge, because the cards always show the way out. You want it or not, they will show you that truth. And you see, and that's the way actually when you will start feeling like a king of cups, immediately resolving it, immediately taking action on acquiring knowledge, figuring out where else can I do it better, how else can I deliver results, not taking on more and more, but maybe I can change approach dramatically in me. Okay, maybe I can change approach how I was doing things before, and that will allow you to actually release lots of energy. Now, let me give you a specific perspective here. For example, you were working with something and everyone around you were putting stuff on you here and there, but you didn't set up maybe some boundaries, or you promised a lot or overpromised, and then it feels heavy, and then you start blaming, how can they give me more and more? But maybe what is required here is a more sincere talk with that person who is giving you more work, right? To understand what can be done here better, right? And I'm willing to see what would cards recommend here in this particular situation to release that energy. Yes, so taking responsibility. This is a very taking responsibility card. And once we take responsibility, wealth is occurring into this reality. So from one perspective, it's a wealth card, 10 of Pentacles. From another perspective, it's a responsibility card. So I feel like you want to take responsibility back for this situation. Any kind of blaming vicious snakes, like, hey, how can they, how could they, you need to cut them immediately, because exactly those snakes are creating all these disturbance and situation. We want to blame them, in fact. And once you take that responsibility back, in fact, it creates more wealth. It goes in alignment with the theme of the month. And that openness to listen, that openness to acquire the new perspective, the change of perspective, that's exactly what will bring you to that new cycle of flow of prosperity, dear Pisces. I hope you're fully equipped for an amazing cycle to run.